Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another PGR reaction. Today we have a March Through Blizzard. Nobody really asked for this one specifically, but it's just another one from all of the Withering Crown stuff that has been coming out, and I've loved everything they've had musically so far, so why not get to another one, right? That's basically it. I'm gonna listen to this now, and without further ado, let's go! An accordion? In PGR, that might be a first.
First learn to crawl and kneel down before supremacy, like a tiny gear of the huge machinery. Then be enthroned to the distant rusting memories from the bygone time, clinging to some faded glories, it repeats.
The vocal top line for this is really interesting so far. I'm being quiet here because I'm just paying attention to the scale of it. There's so much building happening. Lots of stereo stuff too. Okay. This is an interesting feeling for Ghostfinal. Like, I've heard him do similar sounding stuff, but I don't know how to describe what I'm feeling right now. I'm kind of just taking every opportunity I can to, like, peel back layers on this. Fairly short, too. Like, this is just weird in, like, good ways, but, like, I just was not prepared for this sound when I saw Ghostfinal's name in the title. So I think what was putting me off with this song wasn't that it was a bad song. Obviously, it sounded fucking gorgeous. But I think I kept trying to figure out what was happening in the melody the whole time, and the more I've listened to it on repeat while also working out some of the chords and the progressions in here, I'm realizing that it might have just been a lot of motifs. Like, there's a lot of ideas happening in this song. It feels overwhelming, much like a Blizzard would, for example, so maybe that's what it's supposed to be trying to do, is making it sound like there's a blizzard of emotions happening within the character, and that would totally track, especially given what I've already experienced from this character's story, not in the game itself, but just through the music. A lot of that is resonating very heavily in this song. It's getting to that point where, like, now I've experienced enough of the musical identity of the character that I'm like, oh, that's where they're going with this storyline, and I'm starting to kind of feel it out a little bit, and the music does a great job with that as well. So, for example, on this, we have this progression that is like the core progression. There are some, like, outliers in here, but the core progression is D minor, B flat, G minor, A minor. And that's kind of the core of what's happening in this song. That's like the main meat of the chorus, especially. There are some variants in there as well. Like you could go down to this and do the normal way that they want you to, like the idea is with that. But then there's also the C is in there for sure, and the A is in there for sure. So like there's a little variance in there that are mostly used for like connecting chords. So like if I were to go from the B flat up to the C and then up to the D minor and then back down, you kind of get this, and then you can go like down to the G minor or even just to the G. That would be interesting too. I think that might have even happened in there somewhere, but I can't quite place it. That's the problem with me listening to music and trying to do like theory stuff, is like I hear stuff and I'm like, that could just be a coincidence. Music and sound is just a bunch of wobbly air that makes sense to us in tones. That's all it is. So there's a lot of crossover between some of these, and some of these are very strange. Like for the first 10 minutes or so when I was working this out, I didn't even think about using the B flat, and I was like, that might work. It's in the key, it makes sense, right? For the record, this is the key of D minor. Big shocker there, we start on D minor. That's our like tonic chord. It's where the home of everything in the song lays its feet. And it's just like, okay, so now just figure out the progression from there. I was like thinking it was something like F, D minor, C, and then like I was kind of lost. I was like, there's something missing in there, and it turned out to be B flat. And that's just how it works out sometimes. You have to figure things out a little bit kind of brute forcey in my case, just to manage what the actual progression is. But I was thinking like it was up here on the F because like this was sharing a lot of notes with this one, so it just sounded close enough. So it's just a lot of that, and this song feels like a whirlwind of all of this energy and confusion, and that kind of, I was resonating with the song while I was listening to it. I'm like, damn, she's going through it, and so am I right now. I was struggling hard trying to figure things out, but I think it's the density of what the story for this song is why this is reflected this way, and it's so fucking cool, because again, I haven't heard Ghostfinal truly tackle something quite this dense orchestrally, and there's so much happening. I've never even heard Ghostfinal try to include an accordion in anything he's done before, so that was a shocker to begin with, and there's just so much else happening here. This song feels suffocating, like you can't see anything, you can't hear anything, like you would be in the middle of a storm, and I think he nailed that when it comes down to the emotional core of this piece, and the progression being the way it is too. This is a really interesting step down for me because it has a minor lift. Like, I mean, yes, it's a minor to a minor for that like core bit of it, but the reason that this sounds so cool, starting from a minor to a flat and then down to two more minors, there's really no uplift to this, even though that this kind of it's not anywhere near enough of an uplift. If they were to include something like a regular G in there instead of a G minor, that's closer, right? Like this is still, there's just not, it's not enough. This song never gives you that resolve. It never gives you that uplift. And I don't think she necessarily goes through it in the song either. I feel like this is one of those songs where they want you to stay down emotionally. They want you to stay humble, basically. And while there are a few moments in the song that do lift, I think those are where those more interesting takes on the chords handle themselves. Like, for example, instead of using that A minor, they use an A, which, as you can tell, just sounds a little bit more bright compared to the A minor. So that's the sort of adjustment that I was like, maybe they are using some other notes in here, because that's also weird as well. Like using an A in a D minor, this right here, that does not exist. That D flat C sharp is not in the key of D minor. However, it does exist in the harmonic scale for D minor, or the parallel key of D major. That's there. So that's where you're able to kind of slide around the rules of music theory and borrow stuff in order to make songs work, because not every single key is going to have everything you need, and And that's exactly why harmonic scales exist within a key, because then you can take those other chords from other keys and borrow them and utilize them in a new way in this to create some sort of an emotional shift. It's the reason a lot of songs have those emotional moments where things are just downtrodden and all of a sudden things feel brighter. They utilize stuff like that in order to change the key and where it goes and where the expansion of the song can spread itself, because there's so many options in music, and how to do that is entirely up to the musician creating and composing the song. Where do you want these emotions to portray themselves? And for this song, I feel like there's a few spots where they were like, you know what, we've had enough of that downtrodden energy, let's lift a little bit, add a little bit of hope into the song, and then kind of bring it back down, because the song did end in that downward area. Like this progression here is how the song ends. We just kind of end on a final little D minor, like it kind of comes back full circle. There's really not much else to it. It's just subtle at the end of the day. It's one of those changes that through the song, you're feeling this emotional journey, but you don't actually get to see the fruits of that labor and effort. You just have to kind of go back to the menial, everyday kind of shit. You know, we all have to go back to work, you know, it sucks, but that is how it is. Even if you have good days or good moments, or you have that moment of like inspiration in your day and you're like, man, I can do this, the reality does come back around most times that you're gonna have to wake up and do the exact same boring shit again. But there's always going to be more of those lifts, and that's where those sorts of chord changes really make their case in a song and in life in general, because life is not going to always be the same monotony. There will be moments where things go up and down, and I feel like this character is doing that. So hell yeah, Mecha Uma Musume doing whatever the hell she's doing. I don't know her personal story, but fucking amazing music here. I've never had a bad time with Ghostfinal. I'm not expecting to ever have a bad time with Ghostfinal. This was just a new sound for Ghostfinal out of me, and I really like that he's like expanding into this direction of music and getting a little bit more free with these sorts of orchestrations and trying things out and like being, I wouldn't say more creative, but allowing himself that freedom to try new things, because that's always the way that you rekindle the love you have for something. Maybe he's just felt a little bit more monotony in doing electronic all the time, and maybe they just wanted something more orchestral and Ghostfinal went that way. It could go either way, but whatever the case may be, he did a fucking phenomenal job here. But I think I'm done yapping today, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to something else from PGR, by all means drop in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you don't want to do any of that, maybe just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!